Hello and welcome to the Empowered Nurturers Essential Summit. I'm your host, Regena, and today is going to be an exciting day because, ladies, I'm bringing to you my personal coach, my personal mindset coach, Shonte Jovan Taylor, who is a neuroscientist, mindset success catalyst, and social entrepreneur, who is igniting minds around the world through coaching, training, and speaking. The mind and the brain are the keys to our ultimate fulfillment, creativity, and success in life. The ability to get out of our comfort zone to pursue new adventures, professions, and entrepreneurial heights is 90% mindset, and the rest is learning new skills, taking action, and being held accountable. Shonte's mission is to guide ambitious people seeking new opportunities to shift their mindset to reach their full potential in life, profession, and business. Welcome, Shonte.
Thank you so much, Ida, for having me. I'm so humbled that you asked me to be on your summit, and I know how powerful you are. So I'm honored to be here to share with your audience.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, ladies, I've asked Shonte to join us because of her expertise in not just mindset and knowing the brain in general, but she really specializes. She has a great deep knowledge of the female brain. And of course, being female, we want to know what's happening. We love knowing the information. And this is what Shonte is going to help us with today, understanding the female brain. Go ahead, Shonte. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful introduction as well. And this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because it allowed me to evolve as a woman, as a human being, as a mother, as a wife, and as someone who can serve the world in a bigger way. And I feel that because our society is kind of skewed towards very male-dominated professions and stereotypes of women, women haven't been able to fully step into their power. And from my perspective as a neuroscientist, I see through the lens of what the brain is doing. So we have to suppress parts of ourselves, parts of our brain in order to fit into these stereotypes, fit into these male-dominated professions, as we are expected to become not only the nurturers or be the nurturers, but also provide for our families monetarily. So we've really had a lot on us as women, but I'm here to unlock and unleash the power of the female brain so that we can show up better in life and not have so much stress on us, and be able to show up for not just for ourselves, but for those we influence, because the woman has a lot of influence in the world. We have a lot of power. And today that's what I'm going to share with you all. So before I became this evolved mindset myself, I was stuck, with a lot of how other women were feeling trapped, feeling stressed out, putting everybody else before myself. And there came a time where, I was really into my profession. As a neuroscientist, I was telling people what was wrong with their brains 8 to 10 hours a day. And, it's a stressful life. And one day my brain just shut down. And I literally crashed. I crashed into a pole in an empty parking lot with my 3 and 5-year-old in the back seat at the time. And in the darkness, when I heard my children crying in the back, I can hear my higher self saying, Shonte, you have got to wake up. You have got to start taking better care of yourself. And I listened to that. And that haunted me, that stuck with me, my own voice, my own higher self saying I have to change something, because if I don't, I'm going to crash into this pole again. So, thank God we were all okay that day.
Mm-hmm.
But it really shook me up to where I had to reanalyze my life. And so I went on to decide to use my knowledge of neuroscience, the brain and the mind, in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of telling people what was wrong with their brains all day, people with dementia, Alzheimer's disease, traumatic brain injuries, that wasn't empowering for me. That wasn't lighting up my soul. So it was draining my soul. It was tiring my spirit. And if your spirit is tired, if you're not doing the things that light up your neurons, your brain cells, then, you can't show up in a bigger way, in a healthy way. So I decided to take the road less traveled and became a coach, became a trainer on how people can use their minds and brains better so that they can show up as their best selves in life before they get dementia, to ward off dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and to recognize if they, did get a brain injury, how they can, jump on it as soon as possible so that it doesn't lead to, brain deficits in the future. But not only that, once people start to really understand the power of their brain and mind, they'll start to understand what stress does to the brain, what not living a passionate life does to the brain, what not drinking water does to the brain. I mean, all these things affect the brain because the brain is the control center of everything, all of our decisions, all of our behaviors, all of our habits, how we are able to communicate with others, how we are able to feel empathy and compassion. All of that is brain, and we don't know it. And the brain is the last thing we think about. We can see our face, we can see our skin, we can see our hair, we know when we, have a heartburn, but we don't really pay attention to how to take care of our brain and mind. And for the woman in particular, there are regions of the brain that are designed for us to be women. Mm-hmm. But when we are in certain roles, like being a nurturer, we don't take care of ourselves, which affects our brains. When we are in the professional world, we're told to act like men and not show our emotions, which affects the brain. Mm-hmm. So we have to live our lives with the brain in mind so that we can show up as our powerful selves. And as we show up as our powerful selves, we unconsciously give other people to do the same, including our children and those we serve. Even the men in our lives become more empowered because now we're not stressed because we're taking care of ourselves. Yes. So it's very important. So I know, Miss Ida, you teach people to take care of themselves and be nurturers, which is what we definitely need. And I teach women to take better care of their brains, which is also part of that self-nurturing equation.
Yes.
So now I'm going to talk about how the female brain is different from males. But I want to go over a couple of things. It's very counterintuitive to be a woman in modern times, right? I mean,
I'm feeling it.
We have all these expectations on us in modern times, but things have changed from us just taking care of the household. Now we're expected to go to work, which means not only do we put in long hours at work, but then we come home and put in more long hours. So we're in that time. So we're supposed to have all this time and energy, both at work and at home, and still be able to maintain, an upbeat, energetic life. That's counterintuitive. You can't use all your energy and time and still be able to operate at 100%. That's counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. And we don't get the support we need when it's very hard for women at work to be heard, for their ideas to be taken seriously, for them to climb the ladder in corporations, because we don't have the support like men do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we come home and we don't have the support. We're still doing the bulk of the domestic duties. You know, all that requires support, you know, to take that burden off of us. So we're expected to do all this stuff at work with no support, and all this work at home with not a lot of support. So in modern times, it's just not working out for us. We're drained. We're stressed. This is why you're drained and stressed, ladies, because we're in modern times, but we're still expected to be, to carry out our lives as if we are in those olden day times. So we have now the old life and the modern life. We have to figure out ourselves how to make it all work, how to be balanced. It's just not working out for us. We crash. Maybe you haven't crashed into a pole literally like I did, but maybe you crashed into a pole figuratively. Maybe you hit the wall one day and you couldn't take it anymore. And you reached your, you know, the limit. You reached your limit and you snapped off at your children or your husband, or you broke down and cried on the steps. You know, it can, crashing into the pole can show up a lot of ways. For me, it just happened to be literally. So I help women not to crash into the pole. I help them to raise their awareness and consciousness so that they can see that pole coming, and that they can go a different direction by taking care of themselves. And that's what Ida is doing too. She's helping you, giving you the tools, giving you the information and the resources and the awareness to take care of yourself before you hit that pole in life. Because you have people that depend on you. I had my children in the car, you know, so it's not just about us. It's absolutely essential for us to take care of ourselves. People are depending on us to be healthy and strong and stress-free as much as possible to be, you know, so that's essentially what we do, Ida. But we have a lot, there's some other counterintuitive reasons why, it's counterintuitive to be a woman in modern times. So we skimp out on our sleep. Mm-hmm. We are taught to think with our head and not our emotions. But as you're going to see, we are designed to be emotional. Mm-hmm. We are designed to get a certain amount of hours of sleep. But if we're working all these long hours, putting in all this energy, it's really hard to do the things that sharpen our brain and mind and keep us at that level where we can show up better. So what are the differences between the female and male brain? So like I said, a lot of women work in these male-dominated industries, the political world, the financial world, you know, that men do things a certain way. So women, we have more regions in our emotional brain than men do. We have 14 to 16 more regions in our emotional brain than men do. So we are designed to be emotional. We are designed to be able to read nonverbal communication better than men. We are designed to pick up on the nuances of people, to be able to connect with people, to be able to communicate with them in such a way that maybe would ward off tension or an argument. You know, we're designed to be empathetic and compassionate. And we need that, especially now in modern times in leadership. Because without empathy, without compassion, how do you lead people to their best selves? How are you being considerate of our differences, whether it be gender, whether it be color, whether it be ethnicity, religion? How are you able to be considerate and put yourself in other people's shoes if you're not compassionate and empathetic? Wow. And we are designed to be those things, but we're told not to be those things in these male-dominated industries. So I invite you ladies to lean into your emotions, to lean into that emotional brain and feel people, feel what they're going through so you can serve them better, so that you'll be unbiased in your approach to them, in your decisions, to your children, to your spouse, to those you work with. You'll come with a different lens if you're accepting, if you're listening. All those are emotional brain processes that are dominated in the female brain. And the more in tune you are with that, the more you can also read your own body and senses and know when you need to shift your energy or take care of yourself. So the more aware, the more you lean into your emotional brain, the more you become aware of yourself and what you need. And the more you also become aware of others and what they need. But because you are reshifting your own wiring in your brain, you start to take care of yourself first, because awareness is an inner job. It's the initial thing, is self-awareness. It's the highest level you can be as a human being. And we know the brain is rewirable. So as you start to shift your own brain, rewire your own brain for self-awareness, that emotional brain, then you are able to show up in a different way. You are able to take care of yourself first, and then learn how to take care of others in a more empowering way, instead of in a deficit way. And I'm sure, Ida, you talk about the empty cup. How do you get from an empty cup?
Yeah, ladies, this is powerful. So I basically asked Shonte to give us a master class, because she has such good information. I didn't want to, take her off course, but I want you to know today how important the emotions are. I'm so happy that you're emphasizing that. Our power center is in our emotions. So that's good to know. That should be freeing to you ladies, to know that because you're an emotional being, that you're totally powerful and totally in the right place at the right time for this time of our lives and our evolution on this earth. So Shonte, thank you.
You are welcome.
What goodies do you have for us?
Yes. So like Ida said, the emotional brain is very powerful. Where we get off center is, first of all, suppressing. When you suppress your emotions, you build up stress in your body. We know in neuroscience, when you suppress your emotions, you get more stress, you get more tense, and then you start operating from that place. Now your brain is sending signals to your body like you're running from a bear. Okay? So you're always in this survival mode, this fight mode, because you're suppressing one of the most powerful parts of your brain. Wow. And it's not the most important. I think they're all important, but where we get taken off track is when we don't know how to control our emotions. That's when we need to be coming from a higher place. That higher self-awareness also includes the part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. This is the most advanced part of the brain. And this is the part of the brain that helps to control the lower parts of the brain, which is the emotional brain and the brainstem. And the brainstem is that instinctive part of the brain where you just react. See a snake in the grass, you react. We should not be just reacting in modern times. We are not living in caveman days where we need to be in survival all the time. But the brain, the lower parts of the brain don't really know that. They don't know that we're in 2016. It's the same circuitries. So now different modern processes and activities could trigger those lower brain instinctive mechanisms. So as women, we need to learn how to control our emotions in such a way that they become empowering instead of stressful, instead of feeling like we're out of control. So the more we heighten this part of the brain, and women don't need to just do it. Everybody does. This is what I do. I teach people how to use the higher part of their brain. So the more we strengthen this part of the brain, the more we have more control of our other parts of our brain, the emotional brain and the brainstem, which allows us to be more powerful as women. Okay. So if we are able to use this part of the brain better, which is bigger in females, okay, the most advanced part of the brain is bigger in women, ladies. What does that mean? That means we have better judgment. We have more self-control. We have the ability to be more compassionate and empathetic. We have the ability to have more willpower, be more visionary, plan better. But there are some things that will decrease the activity of this part. And that's what I want to bring to your attention, because this is the key to us showing up more powerfully. If it's bigger, that means we're able to do more with it. If we have more regions in our emotional brain, that means we have a deeper sense of intuition and connection with others, which makes for powerful leaders, mothers, and nurturers, okay? But we have to get this under control. We have to be able to heighten it and increase this activity. So let me tell you the things that decreases the activity of the prefrontal cortex in women. Okay, you ready?
Ready. I'm ready. Ladies?
All right. So the activities that distort our mental strengths is not eating. How many times, ladies, do you go without eating because you're trying to do everything for everybody else? You ignore the signals in your body. And guess what that does to the brain? It increases the blood sugar in your brain. And your brain's main source of energy is glucose, what we get from our carbohydrates, and other types of molecules. We need food for the brain to work properly. 20% of the body's energy is used by this 3-pound mass called the brain. It uses up the most energy of all the organs. Wow. Making it the most expensive real estate in your body. But we don't think about it. We don't know about it. We don't understand how important the control center is. So fuel your brain, ladies. When your body says, I'm hungry, eat. But don't just eat anything, right? I mean, because if you're in stress mode, your body's going to automatically want fat, salt, and sugar. Those things are okay, but the sources from where they come, so instead of eating a donut, eat an apple, right? So the brain can use the apple, the carbohydrates from the apple, break it down into glucose and fuel the brain more efficiently. And you also have antioxidants that help the brain to maintain itself. You have 100 billion brain cells that need to maintain themselves. So the quality of food is important, and eating, ladies, is important. Okay, so don't deny yourself. I know as nurturers, we don't make the time to eat, we eat at the wrong time. So make sure you're doing that. Another thing that distorts our mental strengths, or this prefrontal cortex here, is lack of sleep. We should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. We know this in neuroscience that most people on the planet need 7 to 9 hours of sleep, because there are things that your brain can only do during the nighttime that it cannot do in the daytime. So if you are not giving your 100 billion brain cells times to recuperate, to maintain, it's like you don't see the janitors cleaning up the buildings in the daytime when everybody's working, right? We're using our brain during the daytime. The little janitors come out at night and clean up all the debris from thinking all day. But if you don't give your brain the time to clean up the debris at night, you're going to carry those toxins to the next day. And you wonder why you're grumpy, cranky, mentally foggy, can't think, irritated, stressed, because you're carrying debris from day to day because your control center can't think straight. So give your brain the time to do what it needs to do so you can show up more powerfully, ladies. and sleep is free. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars to a doctor. You just gotta get yourself in the mode to go. It's free, ladies, free. One thing in this world that we can say is free is sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Another thing that distorts the brain is high stress levels. Figure out what is stressing you out. Figure out if it's worth your time to stress out about the small stuff. If your daughter wants to wear a green sweater with checkerboard, bright orange pants to school, let her do it. I mean, just figure out ways to cut your stress levels. If you have financial problems, figure out ways to reduce your expenses or find ways to earn more income. The possibilities are endless because your brain is limitless to come up with ideas, but it will only come up with ideas if you're not under all this intense stress. If you're not taking on other people's problems all the time. Let people have their own journey in life. Let them figure out their own journey. We can't solve everybody's problems. We're here to guide others, yes. We're not here to interrupt other people's journeys. See, that's a mindset shift right there.
Yeah.
Stop trying to solve everybody's problems because you are cutting off their own epiphanies and insights and their own journey to discovering their self. It's not your job to stop their journey. Okay, so you can take that burden off of you, which is causing you stress. Does that make sense, Ida?
I'm here thinking, I say, oh, Shonte, you hit us nurturers hard right there. Because we are, at least we think we are, the problem solvers for the world.
Yes.
So ladies, really, let's think about that one. Let's let others find their own way. Especially our children, we think that we should not only guide them, but give them specific instructions for everything they're doing.
Yes, yes. I mean, just think. Children are very complex sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know, they have ideas and they have things they want to do and need to do, and they're on their own little journey, right? That's one of the ways I evolved as a mother was I don't have to give them the answer. If you always give your children the answer, how are they going to grow mentally? How are they going to become problem solvers? If you always give them the answer, you are handicapping your children when you are always telling them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and giving them the solution. My children know that most likely they will not get the answer, but another question from me to stimulate their mind, to help them to maybe think about something a little bit differently. But they rarely get an answer from me because I want them to have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is if I ask, I'll get the answer. Where a growth mindset is, I'll ask. There's a lesson in it. There is something that may lead me to another question, another insight, or take me somewhere else. So we want to foster a growth mindset. But as women, as mothers, as nurturers, we have to foster a growth mindset within ourselves first. So it always starts with self, always. And I'll just give a couple of two more that distorts our mental strengths. And that is having busy brains. And we're always and when we're trying to solve problems for everyone, that clutters our brain. But the moment you decide that I'm no longer going to be that kind of person, that kind of nurturer, that I'm not going to have everybody's problems on my shoulder, that will start freeing up your mental energy that you can use for other things. Because the busier your brains are, the less clear you are, the less clarity you have on what you're supposed to be doing in life. You won't hear your intuition guiding you. That intuition is powerful, but it's always drowned out by other people's stuff, by your stressors, by your busy brain. So you have to start getting things off your mental plate so you can have a clean palette to start hearing your intuition clearer, coming from that emotional brain and that right brain, so that you can start feeling the directions you need to go in life. So you can start feeling how you should formulate your words when you're communicating with someone. Okay, all that's important. A clearer brain, a brain that has clarity can show up better, can communicate better, and can be guided by your inner GPS system better. Okay, so start removing stuff from your brain. And we were just talking about this earlier, Ida, perfectionism. Our house has to be perfect. Our children has to be perfect. They have the perfect story to tell people about our children or our marriage. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to show our mistakes, our imperfections. And really what that is doing is suppressing who we really are. It's suppressing our authenticity. And it's an egoic state of mind, because when we always strive for perfection, it's always from the lens or the stance of I want to be perfect. I want to show people how perfect I am. So it's always starting with I, if you think about it. And I is an ego state of mind instead of a service state of mind. And no good can come out of someone who always wants to be perfect, because now you are holding back your authentic self, and you don't even know who you are if you're always trying to be perfect. You don't even know. So you're operating from a place of inauthenticity, which takes up mental energy, because the prefrontal cortex is one of its functions is to keep us focused. So to keep us focused, that uses up mental energy. So in order to focus on being perfect, we have to, use up energy to suppress who we really are. So it takes more energy to be who you are not than to be who you are. So the brain, yes, the brain.
Okay, you have to repeat that. Hold on, Shonte.
Okay.
Shonte, repeat that. We need to hear that again. That's good. Yes. We need to hear that again.
It takes more mental energy to be who you are not than to be who you are.
That's unbelievable.
Has to use that mental energy to suppress who you are, so you can be that perfect person, so that you won't slip up and say something that will show your vulnerability or mistake. So it is in your best interest to show up as you, to be your authentic self. And one of the ways you do that is to start getting more quiet. Cut the ties to those who are keeping you stressed out. Cut the cord to those problems of other people, so your brain can get less busy, so you can become less stressed, so you have more clarity, so that you can start hearing those thoughts from your higher self-awareness, from your intuition, so you can be guided to discover your authentic self. I think we've been living inauthentically for a long time. Even myself, I didn't really know who I was in my 30s. Like, who am I if I'm not a neuropsychologist, if I'm not walking the straight line of society, if I'm not in control of everything my children are doing, doing at every second. Who am I if I'm not those things? And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to warn you, nurturers, it is not going to feel good in the beginning. It is not going to feel good when you cut the ties to those people who've been depending on you to tell them what to do all the time, or you saving them or solving their problems. They're not going to understand. They're going to try to make you feel guilty, and you're not going to feel good because you're wired now to be in that stressful state of mind, in that drama mode of always looking outside of yourself and helping other people. But to be your authentic self, you got to go in. And I will tell you, it is not going to feel good in the beginning. Stuff is going to come out, emotions, thoughts, your fears, sitting with yourself, questioning yourself, doubting yourself, all that is going to come up. Wow. And you may have to show another side of yourself, and people may not understand it, but it's not their journey, it's your journey. Your journey on this planet is to discover who you really are and how you can serve humanity. And the only way you can do that is to go in and change how you show up in the world using or living with the mind and the brain at a higher level. And that means you got to take care of your mind and your brain at a higher level.
Oh, wow. Had to take a breath on that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I encourage you all to listen to this again, you know, a couple of times a day. Maybe I don't have the audio version, so when you're in your car, you can listen to it, you know, walking the dog or just taking a walk in the park, because this is information that you may not get from anywhere else.
Yes.
Ida is doing a powerful thing right now by bringing to your awareness how important it is to take care of yourself so you can show up in a bigger way in this life right now. Why wait? We only have this one life that we know about. So why not make it the authentic you, the best you, the healthiest you, the happiest you? And that is doing the inner work and taking care of yourself. Thank you, Ida, for putting this together.
Shonte, thank you so much for showing up. Great for us today. Great. So really powerful things you shared with us today. And I'm sure all of it really, really hit home with nurturers. You know, we really have to take care of ourselves, stop trying to basically control others or be the answer for every single situation, and really focus on how we're handling our brain, how we're supporting our brain, because it is our control center. I know, Shonte, one of the things that that you helped me to realize is that because the brain is using so much nutrients, there are special things that the body needs just for the brain. Absolutely. And you were able to actually formulate that, and you have a really powerful supplement that we can get. Do you want to have the ladies know where to go and get that?
Oh, absolutely. So my thing is, when I have clients, and Ida is one of my favorite clients because she does the work. Okay, I can only, you know, take clients so far, but you ultimately have to do the work, because you're with yourself more than I'm with you, right, Ida? You know, exactly. We a couple of times a day, but I make sure a couple of times a month, shall I say? But I make sure all my clients have a mental toolbox. So it's not just one thing that you do to take care of yourself. It's a combination of things. It's a holistic. So you're taking care of your brain mentally, psychologically, you know, physically, so that you can show up in a bigger way. So, you know, with Ida, we have our, you know, our powerful mindset sessions where we're dealing with, you know, how to focus better, you know, how to deal with personal and business world. And that is, you know, communication verbally, you know, reframing and all of that. Then you have to take care of your brain physically, like Ida said, because you have 100 billion brain cells talking to each other at 200 miles per hour, using up all this energy. So you have to fuel that. And if I'm teaching Ida how to harness the power of her brain, that means I also need to be providing her with the nutrients specific to the brain, because now she's using her brain more powerfully, which means she's going to use more energy, and she needs to fuel her creativity, right? So yes, I have a brain supplement that is specifically to heighten the power of the brain. It's all natural, 7 herbs, amino acids, very specific for what the brain needs to function at a higher level. And you can get that, it's called Brain Shift, and you can get that at brainshiftsuccess.com, brainshiftsuccess.com. And like I said, it's all natural, but it takes your brain energy to the next level, so you can, help to, it's a part of the self-nurturing, self-care regimen. Fuel your brain so that you can fuel your focus. Fuel your brain so you have the mental energy to control your emotions. Fuel your mental energy so that you can have the mental energy to tell people, look, I'm not able to serve you right now. I'm not able to take on your issue right now. Because if we're all worn out and stressed out, we don't have the mental capacity using our prefrontal cortex to ward off those things that's going to distract us. Because now we're going to be operating on our emotional lower brain, primitive brain, that's not thinking straight. And we need to be able to think straight when people come at us, and we got to make the mental decisions. See, those higher mental decisions come from the higher brain. But you got to have the mental energy to be able to deal with the things that are coming at you, or you'll be acting instinctively, fight or fight, dramatically. And that's not the place we want to be in modern times. So Ida, with this summit, is helping you to operate at a higher part of yourself. And learning to use your brain and mind is one of those mental tools that you need to operate at the highest level of yourself as a woman, as a nurturer, as a caretaker, as a mother, as a professional, and all those other things we are aspiring to be. So, yes, please, if you feel it will serve you, you go to Brain Shift Success and get those brain supplements specific to heighten your brain energy for success.
Okay, that is brainshiftsuccess.com. And ladies, I would have the link for you here on the page. But I also know in the meantime, you have a downloadable that they can take a look at some information. Give us the email address, not the email address, sorry, your website for that.
Yes, I will go to mindsettools.com, mindsettools.com. And it will be a downloadable poster of things you can do to heighten your brain power. So the supplements will be the physical way, but there's also some things you can do to heighten your mindset and your brain power so that you can show it better. So mind tools, what did I say? Mindsettools.com.
Okay. So mindsettools.com will give you the downloadable, and the other one is brainshiftsuccess.com.
Yes.
For the supplements.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was really right today, Shonte. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime.
Thank you. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us on Empowered Nurturers Essential Summit today. And please don't forget, it is time to take care of you. So see you on the next interview. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.